Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Perth East Council. This 20th day of April, I'd like to call the meeting to order. If everyone could please bow their head for a moment of reflection. Thank you. Is there anything anyone would like to add to the agenda? If not, we have a motion that the agenda as prepared for April 20, 2023 meeting of council of the Township of Perth East be approved as received. Moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, if you have pecuniary interest, you can disclose that now or as we move along. Before we get too far into the meeting, I'd like to introduce to everyone Jeff Bannon. He is our new member for planning. He has joined us here in Perth East, and you see there in the front row. And so welcome, Jeff. We look forward to working with you here in Perth East. Anything you want to say? No? Okay. I've cut other people off before and got in trouble for that. Okay, so we have 19 items under our consent agenda. Is there any item that anyone would like pulled or have questions about? You?
Just 5.1.18, they're changing the environmental assessment stuff. Is that anything staff here want us to support or get more information on or anything like that to send anything in? Like it's anything staff would like to do.
Through you, Mayor, I guess it's certainly something that we've had conversations with our engineers about the changes, and I know they're tracking what the process will look like, and it's been an ongoing conversation for probably close to 18 months, probably longer than that, Deputy Mayor. So we are, keeping track of it, and as are the township engineers. So I don't think we need anything at this point, but I think it is one of those pieces that we need to remain aware of it for sure.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
If you needed support on anything, I've been happy to.
Okay, anyone else? So I'm wondering about 5.1.19. I'd like it pulled. There's a few questions on it that I have, so if we could maybe deal with the rest and then we'll come back to that one. Okay, so we have a motion that items 5.1.1 to 5.1.18 is set out in the consent agenda for the April 20th, 2023 regular meeting of council be received for information with the exception of item 5.1.19, which shall be introduced separately, and the minutes of the Perth East Fire Department Joint Advisory Committee meeting April 3, 2023 and the Perth East Public Library Board April 11, 2023 be received for information, and further that the minutes of April 4, 2023 special meeting of council and the April 4, 2023 regular meeting of council be adopted. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jerry, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so in regards to 5.19, the government is asking us to do the municipalities to do a whole lot of things. They want us to implement intensification policies. And if we do that, who's going to pay for that? Because one size doesn't fit all. They want municipalities to plan for stormwater and water and wastewater. And there's a few other things. They want us to prepare impacts of the changing climate and develop approaches to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve air quality. Once again, who's paying for that? Are they expecting the municipalities to pick this all up? And they also want us to permit more housing on farms, which I read in the paper the other day that they want us to have like 3 houses per farm that we could sever off. So I'm just wondering if we should pull it and ask staff to do a little bit more investigation into this item and bring it back, what the government is really asking and where Perth East really stands, if this is something that we want to support or we want to send something to the government. Hugh?
I'd support that, but we find out a lot more information on that. The other something for suddenly allowed you to have 3 houses on your farm and start subbing them off. That would be a total 100 maybe to be changed. So I agree with you that we should probably have a bit more information on that.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Jerry? Any more comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we do have two delegations tonight. The first delegation is Bill Dietrich from Dietrich Engineering, and he's going to talk about Branch A, the Richardson Municipal Drain. And that's not him on the screen. Who's on the screen? That's do you know who that is? Is Bill there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There's Bill. Okay.
Yep.
Welcome, Bill. Now we can hear you and see you. So
Welcome. Good.
the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, Mayor Agates, members of council. I see we have a plan of our proposed drainage system up on the screen there. Our reports. I'm gonna I'll just take a few minutes just to highlight the scope of work for this project, and that is the purpose of this meeting this evening, is to review the work that's being planned here. And then if there's any questions, I'll answer them after I've made my presentation. A little bit of background information on this project. Dietrich Engineering was appointed under Section 78 of the Drainage Act to prepare an improvement report for the existing Branch A of the Richardson Municipal Drain. The area that the Richardson, this branch serves, is shown on the plan, and some history on this existing tile system. The original drain was installed back in 1962 under a report that was prepared by R.M. Dawson, consulting engineer. And in that report, it provided approximately 1,500 feet of 10-inch to 12-inch diameter tile was installed. And it commenced up in Northeast Hope Ward in Lot 21 or in Lot 7, I should say, of Concession 8, and it outletted into Lot 21, Concession 1 of Wilmot Township. Which was there's an existing the main drain is in Wilmot Township, which is an open channel. The drain was later extended upstream by another engineering report prepared by Johnson Engineering, and it was dated in 1986. In that report, there was approximately 721 meters of 150 millimeter to 250 millimeter tile installed. It commenced at an outlet in the existing 1962 drain, and the upstream end of it was at the property line between lots 8 and 9 of Concession 8 in the Northeast Hope Ward. Wilmot Township later replaced the lower section of this drain in 2019 with a 525 millimeter, 21-inch diameter pipe from the westerly side of Road 103 to the outlet. We were, after the township received the request and after our appointment, we held an on-site meeting to review what section of the drain required improvement. The field work was completed. We've come up with a design to replace and upgrade the lower section of the drain in Lot 7 of Concession 8. And we held an information meeting to review our proposal back on March 1st. Our proposal includes to drain this watershed area that's shown on the plan of approximately 51 hectares of land. We're proposing to install 499 meters of 450 millimeter to 525 millimeter diameter tile. It'll all be located in Lot 7, Concession 8 on the Arnold and Rosemary Yancey property. We've used a design drainage coefficient of 38 millimeters of rainfall in a 24-hour period. There'll also be a new catch basin installed at the upper end of this new drainage system at the property line between lots 7 and 8, Concession 8, and the existing municipal drain will be connected into that catch basin. So that's basically the work that's being planned here, the section of the drain that needs to be improved. And we've estimated the cost of this project at $80,400. And this will include the allowances that will be provided to the landowners under sections 29 and 30 of the Drainage Act, as well as the construction costs and the administration costs for this project. So maybe at this point in time, if there's any questions from council or any assessed landowners on the drain regarding the proposed work, I'll be pleased to answer those.
Okay, any questions from members of council? Nope. Okay. No questions, Bill?
Oh, okay.
So if it's all right with council, normally we deal with new business or delegations under new business, but because it's a drain report tonight, with your permission, we'll deal with the motion now. Okay? Oh, there's a gentleman in the, do you have any questions in the audience? No? You hear that question, Bill? Maybe
No, I didn't. If you could
come up
repeat
to
it,
the
I
table,
didn't
please,
get
and turn
that.
the mic on and give us your name too.
I'm at lot 9. From what I understand there, Bill, you were saying that it's a section on Arnold's property, lot 8, the one that's highlighted in yellow. Is that correct?
That is correct. The section of the drain that's going to be updated and replaced is the yellow line that's shown on the plan there. Only in lot 7, only that section of the existing drain is being replaced under this drain report.
Okay, and has the rest of the drain been inspected and found to be in decent shape then?
Yeah, at this point in time, we haven't been asked to investigate the outlet. Has just been recently replaced, as I mentioned, in Wilmot Township. And the upper end of the drain, my understanding, isn't in good working condition yet. And it continues on right up into, you can see on our plan, the upper end of the drain is over on in the Stephen Snyder property. And to my understanding, municipalities had no request to replace the upper end of the drain at this point in time.
Okay. So has that part of the drain been inspected, or is it just the section on Arnold's property?
Just the section on Arnold's property we've been asked to investigate,
Okay.
nothing else.
All right. Okay, no, I think that was the question. Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead. Sorry, Bill?
Well, I think that's it. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else then? If not, we do have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the presentation from Bill Dietrich, Drainage Engineer, Dietrich Engineering Limited, Branch A, Richardson Municipal Drain 2023, parts of Lot 7 to 9, Concession 8, Part Lot 9, Concession 9, Northeast Hope Ward, Township of Perth East, County of Perth for information, and further that the quarter revision for the Branch A, Richardson Municipal Drain 2023 be held on May 16th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Bob, second by Hugh. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Bill. Good seeing you.
Okay, same here. Thanks. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, we'll move on to our second delegation, and our second delegation is Sarah Franklin, Communications Officer, Perth County, and Melissa Loomis, Principal Consultant, Headlands Ag Enviro Solutions, Perth County Stewardship Program. So welcome, ladies, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is on? Oh, red is on. That is good. Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Eggets and members of Perth East Council. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to talk about the Perth County Stewardship Program. We're here this evening to provide a brief overview and update on our project so far. Next slide, please. For those I haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name is Sarah Franklin. I'm the Communications Officer with Perth County, and I'm joined this evening with my colleague Mel, who is the consultant on this project from Headlands Ag Enviro. Next slide, please. So our goal with this project is to develop a program that supports residents and landowners in their efforts to protect the soil, water, and air across Perth County. Our approach has been to listen to landowners and residents, gather that input, do research on best practices, both locally and globally, and really to develop a made in Perth County solution and program that fits the needs of people in our region. Next slide, please. So as a result, community engagement has been a very important part of this project. We quickly developed a project website, perthcounty.ca/stewardship, which really provided a landing page for all of the project information, including where folks could sign up for the community engagement sessions, complete the online survey, or also reach out to Mel directly for one-on-one interviews. And I'm just going to turn it over to Mel next so she can talk a little bit about what we've heard so far and who we've talked to. Next slide.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, with the survey, I didn't talk to 270 people individually, but through the survey and the input sessions and the one-on-ones, we've talked to over 270 people, and it's been phenomenal. From the input sessions, I heard that I should make special effort, which I did, to reach out to the Amish community and businesses, especially agricultural businesses, as well as service groups. So I've done like specific efforts to specific people, and it's hard to actually just stop and start writing, but I'm at that point now. So yeah, we talked with commodity groups, especially agricultural organizations, and I spent a lot of time talking with the 4 conservation authorities that work in Perth County. Next slide, please. And what I heard varied responses all over the map, really, as you can imagine. But by far, people were most concerned with a low level of tree cover in Perth County, regardless of where you were. And they were most interested in tree planting programs. And that's what I heard too, was just start small, pick one thing, and just knock it out of the park to try to build trust with the landowners and all the residents, and not try to do all the things at the very beginning. So I think that's what's coming is definitely leaning towards trees. But I also heard a disappointment that there wasn't composting programs within Perth County, and as well, like I did focus on the farmers because I think they manage the most amount of land, but we definitely also spoke with residents in the settlement areas, and they wanted bike paths and green spaces. And for farmers, they were interested in demonstration farms, looking at cover crops and erosion control and building soil health. And but the other thing, when we ask what was the barrier, people will say economics. But if you really dig a bit deeper, you can find it's almost like a lack of understanding of what would be the next step, and where would I even get information about that, and where would I get funding for that? Because let me tell you, there's funding from the province and from the feds as well. So that was another point that we thought we could leverage is that assistance and connection to existing funding programs. Next slide, please. And I also looked around the world. I did talk to like Wellington County, Huron County, they all have clean water programs, and I definitely talked with them and got the nuts and bolts of that to try to take the best. But I also looked around the world, Landcare Australia, and in Wisconsin, they have several different types of programs that support farmers. So it, not necessarily for right away, but definitely there's a lot of ideas to build a program in the future that doesn't necessarily look like anything else we've seen in Ontario. Next slide, please. Surprisingly, we were on time. I was told that my timeline was aggressive, but I can be aggressive. And I really wanted to get farmers before we got back in the fields. So I think we did that. And so I've done a lot of the synthesis and then puts a small presentation back on this website. And we've got further feedback about that. And I've had a few more conversations. And yeah, I'll lob it back to Sarah to what we're doing now.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we've brought this information back to the Agricultural Working Group at the county, which is a committee of council, and there are representatives from Perth East. Mayor Agats and Deputy Mayor McDermott are both a part of that separate committee to receive some of what Mel has found out. We heard their comments and did a little bit of prioritization. So we're going to do some more refinement on the plan and really come up with a bit more of a granular detail on how we would make this happen on the ground. That information will come back to the Agricultural Working Group. If you just want to move to the next slide, please. We're in the midst of doing some council delegations as well, as we are here tonight. We were in West Perth on Monday, and we're in North Perth on next Monday. We did Perth South back in March. So we're doing a bit of a roadshow now, and then the agricultural working group will receive more of a formalized report from Mel and myself about what the next steps could look like. We'll be looking for that group to endorse the plan to then be brought to County Council for further consideration as to how we could roll this out going forward. Next slide. Thank you very much for your time this evening, and we would certainly be happy to answer any questions about the program if you have any at this time.
Okay, questions, Amanda?
Just more so a comment. So I know these are early stages. Super happy you did the jurisdictional scan. I think that's really helpful, and it really has that rural lens on the projects that we're doing. One thought I've more so as this evolves, and we can determine if it's a good fit, but partnering with other conservation groups like Alice and like Ducks, and leveraging some of the dollars that are already, for projects. I know there's been a ton of work on farmland in Norfolk County, I believe, like that Alice has, and a few other areas. I've never seen anything in Perth County, which is always surprising because we are such a, agriculture is such a powerhouse in this county. And so I think there's some really exciting opportunities with relationship building and leveraging those groups that already have established relationships with government and have received funding and can leverage more dollars. So I just wanted to put that out there for consideration as this sort of evolves, especially if there are farmers that are interested in doing more conservation things on their farm, and that sort of thing. So just wanted to share that.
Through the mayor, if I can respond to that, I know that's a program that Mel has certainly looked into, and also we think that one of the major components of this will also be a commitment of staff time to be able to either help connect landowners with current projects that are funding programs that already exist, or also as you know, leveraging funding, finding out how we can fund this program itself through dollars from other levels of government. So that's something that's certainly under consideration. Mm-hmm. Did you want to add anything about Alice?
No, just big fan.
Okay.
Okay, other questions? No, thank you very much, ladies, for coming. We really appreciate it. We do have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receives a presentation from Sarah Franklin, Communications Officer, Perth County, and Melissa Loomis, Principal Consultant, Headlands Ag Enviro Solutions, Perth County Stewardship Project, for information. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Enjoy the rest of your night, ladies. Thanks again. Okay, we do not have any public meetings. We do have one public hearing. Council will now temporarily adjourn to sit as Committee of Adjustment pursuant to Section 45 of the Planning Act. I now declare this public hearing open. This public hearing is being held to consider an application affecting property currently owned by William J. Geese Construction Limited and described as Plan 44M-80, Lot 32, Milverton Ward, 101-103 Pew Street. The purpose of this hearing is to give the committee and the public an opportunity to hear all interested persons with respect to the proposed application and receive their input, and for the committee to make a decision on the application. All persons attending this hearing will be given an opportunity to be heard or make a presentation. Committee members may ask questions for the purposes of clarifying the application, but are asked to withhold comments on this application until all present have been given an opportunity to be heard. Any person present who wishes to receive written notice of the decision made by the Committee of Adjustment is asked to give their name and mailing address to the Secretary-Treasurer at this time. An appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal objecting to the decision made at this hearing may be filed with the Secretary-Treasurer not later than May 10, 2023. No written notice, except as previously noted, will be given unless requested at this time. I will now call on Jeff on planner Jeff Bannon to present the planning report and recommendations. So Jeff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Higgins. The minor variance application A03-2023 was submitted by Van Harten Surveying on behalf of William J. Geese Construction. Next slide, please. The subject property is located at 101-103 Pugh Street in Milverton and is located on the south side of Pugh Street between Tower Heights Drive and Coulter Street. It is approximately 710 meters in size and area and has a frontage of approximately 18.3 meters. The owner is proposing to construct a new semi-detached dwelling. The Perth East zoning bylaw permits a maximum lot coverage of 40%, and the owner is requesting an increase to the maximum lot coverage to 49% for the proposed semi-detached dwelling. Next slide, please. The property is recognized by the County of Perth official plan as a service urban area and is designated as residential in the Milverton official plan. This semi-detached development will add to the mix of dwelling types that are already existing in Milverton. It will contribute to a compact development within a serviced urban area, and the proposed minor variance conforms with the Perth County and the Milverton official plans. The property is zoned residential medium density R2-13 in the Township of Perth East zoning bylaw, and the proposed semi-detached residential dwelling is a permitted use, and section 13.2 of the zoning bylaw sets out the requirements for the maximum lot coverage on properties. The proposed minor variance to allow for an increased lot coverage is appropriate development within the medium density residential development area, and the requested increase to the lot coverage will not have a negative impact on the neighboring lands. The applicant is able to meet all other zoning requirements within the proposed development, including parking, regulations, and setbacks from all of the lot lines. The owner is able to provide for an adequate amount of amenity space in the rear yard, and the proposed minor variance is considered to be minor in nature for the subject lands. The owner is proposing a dwelling that will be of similar size with similar setbacks to other properties within the neighborhood. The development is consistent with the neighboring dwelling to the west, and it will be constructed in conformity with all other provisions of the zoning bylaw, which will allow for a consistent streetscape in the area. The planning department is of the opinion that the minor variance is appropriate for the site. Next slide, please. No public comments have been received to date. The application for the minor variance conforms to the 4 tests in the Planning Act with official plan policies and maintains the general intent and the purpose of the official plan in the zoning bylaw. The variance is minor and desirable for the use of the land, and as a result, approval for the minor variance is being recommended. And I'm here to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? And I request that they give their name and address for the record when they are recognized. Seeing no one. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? And I request that they give their name and address for the record when they are recognized. Seeing no one. Does the applicant or the applicant's agent have any comments with respect to the application? We have the agent, Tracy Lesperance, has registered to speak with respect to the application and is joining us virtually.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we are looking for permission to increase the lot coverage. Everything that Jeff said is exactly in line with what our application is for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from committee members? You?
Just one. Venus, you're covering more of the lot. When they give the building permit and things like that, do you do more of a consideration then of the water, like how the water will be handled? And not only this lot, but any lot, if you put more building on it than what's allowed?
Yes, through you, Mayor Higgins, we do consider that for all of these homes up on the street with the site grading and drainage, and also with the spatial separation to the property lines. So they'll all meet the Ontario Building Code.
I just didn't know if that was something you treated differently than if it's a very bigger building than that's well known?
It's treated the same. Any building would have to be considered. The stormwater would have to be dealt with.
Other questions, Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'm wondering if we could get any information on why the semi-detached needs to be 23% larger than the maximum lot size, right? 9% of 40 is 22%. Is that correct? Just wondering what's the practical reason why it needs to be that extra 9% above maximum.
Okay, Tracy, do you want to answer that, or Jeff?
Sorry, would you like me to answer that, or Jeff, did you want to answer that? I can answer that. Right now, it's only going to be going over 9%, and a lot of that has to do as well with the covered porch that's in the back, because covered porches have to be included in coverage. That is partially why, and they wanted to build bungalows out there because those are very common, and that is partially the reason why, is for the bungalows to fit 40% is very hard, especially with the semi-detached dwelling, to work in that 40%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, then we have a motion that the Township of Perth East Committee of Adjustment received a report dated April 20th, 2023, prepared by the planner, entitled Application for Minor Variance D13-A03-2023-PE, submitted by Tracy Lesperance for Van Harten Surveying Inc. on behalf of William J. Gees Construction Limited, affecting lands described as Plan 44M80, Lot 32, Milverton, Township of Perth East, 101 to 103 Pew Street, Milverton, and that committee approve minor variance D13-A03-2023-PE affecting lands as described above, with the following condition. Number 1, that the owners obtain the necessary building permit within 2 years of the approval of the minor variance. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jerry, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. I declare this public hearing closed. Okay, thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move on in planning now, and we have a severance application B06-2023 submitted by Doug Reume on behalf of Peter and Nell Beerpot. So Pune is coming with us on Zoom, so welcome, Pune, and the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor Eggets and council members. With your permission, I would like to share my screen.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. So tonight I'll be presenting to you the Beerpot consent application at 4062 line 50. Oh, sorry. Do you see my presentation or no? I don't think you do. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes, we can see it.
Very good. Thank you. The property is located on northwest of Perth Road 119 and line 50 with frontage on line 50. The application is for severance of a surplus farm residence to the farming operation. Mr. and Mrs. Beerpot already have a farming operation in Perth County with an active farm business registration number. And there's a residence, and therefore this residence is surplus to their needs. Their intention is to sell the severed parcel to the current tenants at that property. The subdivision of lands in the agricultural lands are discouraged by the planning policies. Generally, however, the surplus farm dwelling applications are permitted, given the fact that applicant meets certain criteria, such as it being surplus, the residence being surplus to their farming operation, and that severed lot is minimal, the size is minimal. So this severed lot is proposed to be 0.40 hectare and includes a house, a garage, a dog well, a propane tank, septic system, and the grain bin. The garage acts as a boundary on the east and south of the site, while the propane tank provides a boundary to the west of the subject site. The size of the proposed several lot is minimum size and is evaluated based on the site-specific features that I mentioned. The retained lot area would be 40.2 hectares. The property is designated agricultural in the Perth County official plan, and it's zoned agricultural in the Perth East zoning bylaw. The proposed several lot will comply with the minimum lot area requirements and frontage requirements of the Perth East zoning bylaw, as would the retained lot. It meets the requirements of the provincial policy statement and the county's official plan. As for the public comments, as of today, I received 2 comments, one from the Upper Thames River Conservation Area, which states no issue with the proposal. The second comment I received is from the neighboring residents across from the subject land on 4061 line 50. It's Mr. Tom Drake, who is opposing the application because of the complication it may cause to his farming operation in the future. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, any questions of the report? No, no questions. Okay, so we do have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the planner dated April 20th, 2023, entitled Severance Application File B06-23, submitted by Doug Reume on behalf of Peter and Nell Bierpot, affecting lands described as Concession 13, Lot 2, Ellis Ward, 4062, Line 50, Township of Perth East, for information. And that Council recommend that the County of Perth Land Division Committee or its designate approve severance application file B06-2023, subject to the following conditions. And I'll give you the short term of the conditions. So the Perth East conditions: number 1, all taxes are paid in full. Number 2, all financial requirements have been met from Perth East. Number 3, confirmation be received from Perth East that the apportionment schedule of the municipal drains are reviewed and updated. Number 4, confirmation from Perth East that an amendment to the Township Perth East implementing zoning bylaw adopted to zone the proposed severed lot to permit only a dwelling and accessory uses, buildings and structures, and to zone the retained farm lot to prohibit any new permanent residential dwellings. Number 5, confirmation be received from Perth East that severed and retained farm lots have assigned municipal address and each lot contain a municipal address sign. Number 6, confirmation from Perth East that road access to the retained parcel is to their satisfaction. Number 7, Township of Perth East provide a clearing letter stating that all municipal requirements have been addressed. And that's it. Okay. I was looking for the counties too. So do we have a mover and a seconder for all that? Moved by Hughes, second by Amanda. Is there any more comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Thanks, Pune. And now we're going to move on to CAO, and we have the Percon Development Draft Plan Subdivision. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Agates. Yeah, just briefly as it relates to the reports, Council's familiar with the Percon Industrial Development. This is kind of the next step along the way. One of the conditions of draft plan of subdivision approval is Percon and the township entering into a subdivision agreement. What we're proposing at this point is that based on the works that have happened between staff and Percon and their group, is that we get council authorization for moving forward with the subdivision agreement to meet that condition. There is still some review work that's happening, but at this point we're sufficiently satisfied from a staff perspective that there's nothing significant that would alter the subdivision agreement. So that is why it's in front of council tonight.
Okay, any questions of the report? Nope. Okay, we have a motion. Council of the Township of Perth East received a report entitled PE 21-01, Percon Developments Inc. Draft Plan of Subdivision Agreement, part of Lot 6, Concession 2, Mornington Ward, 6332 Perth Road 131, Milverton, CAO-2023-05, dated April 20th, 2023, prepared by the Chief Administrative Officer for information, and further that the Corporation of the Township of Perth East execute a subdivision agreement with Percon Development, Inc. in the form or substantially the same form as the draft agreement, and further that council authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk of the corporation to sign the agreement on behalf of the corporation. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Andrew, second by Amanda. Comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Mike. Next, we're going to move on to the Clerk's Department, award drains and block assessments. And Eric is going to have the floor for this. Eric, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, so the purpose of this report is just to give council some information on a couple of uncommon items within the Drainage Act. The first one being award drains. So council has recently seen a Section 74 petition for what was originally thought to be a municipal drain, but it turned out to be an award drain. So I think it lays it out pretty well there in the report, but an award drain is treated almost like a private drainage system, and the maintenance of that is actually it's mentioned in the engineer's report when it is created, and it falls to the landowners or to the people who are awarded that drain. The second piece of the report is on block assessments. So block assessments can be under Section 25(1) of the Drainage Act. And it's to essentially help billing out for what they define as a built-up area. The definition of the built-up area is quite extensive. It is in the report, and it is a request of council during the time of the creation of a new assessment schedule. So that's during the time for a Section 4 for a brand new drain, a Section 78 for an improvement, or there's a Section 76 to essentially redo the entire assessment schedule. That does come with a cost. It is a request of council to the engineer at that time. Section 76 the landowners have the ability to appeal that if council were to choose to do that for other drains. And essentially, I think that's all there. A block assessment does allow us to bill it out under taxes, and it changes, instead of acreage, it takes their assessment based on their property value. So that's another little bit of a change there. It does allow us to bill it out under their taxes, but our Township of Perth East practice is already to bill out assessments under $25 on through taxes. So that is kind of null for us here at Perth East. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, any questions of the report? You?
For like a homeowner, is one way better than the other?
Thank you. I think it's all kind of relative. I tried to ask a couple people about the benefits of a block assessment. It more so is supposed to help the administrative process when billing out built up areas. So I don't think there's really one way is better for less. It seems though the assessments are pretty much the same.
Okay. It's just Shakespeare and Sebastopol we have under the other way. We don't have Milverton under that.
No, to my knowledge, Shakespeare and Sebastopol, I think I put in the report, that was a request from council because when it was under Tavistock that did the project. East Lower Tavistock Council requested the engineer at the time to do a block assessment for Tavistock. And from my understanding is council at Perth East requested for Sebastopol and Shakespeare. To my knowledge, that's the only one we have.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled Award Drains and Block Assessments, DDC-2023-11, dated April 20th, 2023, prepared by the Drainage and Development Coordinator for information. Mover and a seconder, moved by Jerry, second by Amanda. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we don't have any reports from finance. The next one is Public Works and tender results. And Wes, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Very happy with this tender to see that there was 5 submissions, and it was a joint tender through the county, and nothing more to add. Thank you.
Any questions of the report? If not, we have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report dated April 20th, 2023, entitled Tender Results 2023-031-02, road rehabilitations, cold cycle, and hot mix asphalt paving, PUB 2023-08, prepared by the Manager of Public Works and Parks for information, and further that council support the County of Perth in awarding tender 2023-031-02, road rehabilitations, cold, recycle, and hot mix asphalt paving to Brantco Construction. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Wes. Now we have no reports from building, no report from recreation and community services, no report from fire. We do have one item of correspondence, and that's from Adeline and Jermaine DeBauer, and it's about the reducing the speed limit through the hamlet of Peppers. What would council like to do with this request? You want to, Jerry?
Yes, I think we should have a report from staff. You know, speeding is an issue everywhere. Is there any signs that staff know posted now? Is my first real question, but I like to, ultimately, I would like to see staff come back with a report as the feasibility of reducing the speed there.
Wes, are there?
I can answer the question. No speed limit signs in Peppers.
How big is Peppers? Like 10 houses, 5
No,
houses?
no, four houses.
4 houses? Okay.
It's the old store, which is very close to the road. That's where the DeBrouwers live.
Okay, so Jerry would like to refer it to staff. Do we have a seconder for that? Amanda? Okay, so the Council of the Township of Perth East received the correspondence from Adeline and Jermaine DeBauer dated April 10, 2023 regarding a request to reduce the speed limit through the hamlet of Peppers for information, and that Council directs staff to prepare a follow-up report. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're going to move to Council and Committee reports. Does anyone have a report they want to give? Jerry?
I'm checking the library, so congrats to Kendra. That's great news. I attended Good Roads this week. I could give that as a quick verbal. The Premier was there Monday, gave his regular spiel. Labor Minister McNaughton, he was there. A lot of planning and street safe talks. Especially around speed, a number of those. Minister Mulroney, the transportation spoke. We had all four, including Ford, all four leaders, Stiles, Fraser from the Liberals, and even Mike Schreiner from the Greens also spoke as well. There was, the last one I'll talk about is the Let's Remember Adam, but Peter Weltman was also there, spoke. He's the Accountability Officer of Ontario, spoke about a lot of the bad news, but he did a good speech. And so did Greg Rickford. He's the Minister of Northern Affairs and Indigenous Affairs. And yeah, a lot of the North stuff, but he was a very good speaker. So Let's Remember Adam is a something that the young lad. It's about the cameras on the buses. So his brother Pierre Ranger is the chair of that committee, but his brother Adam was killed when he was 5 years old in 2000 up in Mattawa, Ontario. So he's coming out with trying to get some pressure to get these the cameras on the school buses. So that was a very good talk. It was very emotional, but it was a good talk. So all in all, again, there was a lot of talk around the cities, but most of it did pertain to the small rural, because the streets and the roads are kind of the same. But all in all, it was a fairly decent conference, and yeah, learned a lot, and we met a lot of new people. So good networking.
Okay, thank you. Hugh?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting the mayor of Warwick, I think it is. It's down by Chatham. And I believe it was the mayor of Lee, two mayors anyway, and they were at the CN booth, and they are working big time on getting CN to pay their fair share for our drainage. So I'm going to email them and find out what they're doing and things like that. It almost sounds like they would like a lot of other communities join in pressuring CN, but it sounds like they're waiting for some report that CN is doing about, I guess, whether they should pay or not pay or anything like that. So that was quite good news. One statistic that stuck out, the average mean income, I believe, from 1974 to, I think it's 2020, you're now $2,900 fewer than you were in 1974.
Okay, Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor. Got some might as well go. Yeah, it was a little different conference, not as many breakout information training sessions. I met up with Mr. Fred Dean, who we all know usually partners with Mr. Belchamber. He had a good, the room was full. It was being successful on your first time on council, so the room was obviously full of 3- and 4-term councilors still trying to be successful. So he's good. He's always got something to add and always learn something new from him. The one keynote speaker, I believe it was on Tuesday, UT Professor Sunil Jahal, public policy guru, very well spoken. I believe I've met him before in person, and he's not concerned, but he has some warnings for municipalities and all levels of government going forward with the uncertain times. An interesting statistic of 62% of the public lacks trust in government institutions. I think that's something we all need to work on from the top to the bottom. And he advises municipalities and other government entities to be creative on budgets without going to the taxpayer. So those were 2 takeaways I got from that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else with reports? Amanda?
Not a formal report, but I was speaking to Bill about the fire truck. We are approaching the end of April. I can confirm it has arrived in Woodstock, but there is no firm delivery date yet. When that is scheduled, I believe there'll be a notification shared with council for a little get-together and photo op opportunity, so stay tuned.
Okay. From county, we had Bell Farms, we had public meeting, and everything went okay there, and I think the official plan amendment was passed that same day, right, guys? So I think that's all from county council. Is there anything else anyone wants to report on? If not, we need a motion to accept all the verbal reports. Moved by Amanda, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have 4 bylaws for first and second reading. The first one is bylaw 16-2023. It's a bylaw to authorize the signing of a subdivision agreement with Percon Developments, and that was 8.2.1 tonight. The second one is bylaw 17-2023. It's a bylaw to authorize the signing of a funding agreement with East Hope Historical Group, Inc. for the Broxton County Country School Museum. The third bylaw is 104-2023. It's a bylaw to consolidate municipal drain maintenance completed in 2010 to 2018. And the fourth one is bylaw 105-2023, a provisional bylaw to provide for a drainage works known as Branch A of the Richardson Municipal Drain 2023 Northeast Hope Ward, and that was item 6.1 tonight on our agenda. So we need a mover and a seconder for those 4 bylaws. Moved by Hugh, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. And then we have bylaws that are going to be read a third and final time. We have 3 of them. The first one is 16-2023 to authorize the signing of a subdivision agreement with Percon Development, Inc. The second one is 17-2023 to authorize the signing of a funding agreement with the East Hope Historical Society for the Broxton Country School Museum. And the third one is bylaw 104-2023, a bylaw to consolidate the municipal drain maintenance completed in 2010 to 2018. So we move in a seconder for that. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. We have no need for a closed session. Do we have any notice of motions? Any new business? Hugh?
Way back in April 4th, when we had that EA for Shakespeare, in there was some dates, March the 22nd to the 29th. I think they were for the end of the public consultation. And I think I'm one of the last 3 people on earth that actually get the Beacon Herald physically. And I went back to try and find that paper because I couldn't understand how I missed the notice. So I looked at home. I went to the library and looked and realized March the 29th and 22nd are Wednesdays. They don't publish those days. So whatever that notice was that was in the paper, did it get put in at a different time than those March days?
Through you, Mayor, I guess the dates in the notice you're speaking of it was a draft notice at that point, Deputy Mayor. So those dates were completely tentative. Actually, today the notices went out and they will be in the Beacon Herald tomorrow, I believe, and then again following next week.
Yep.
The notice itself.
Just you're going to get the bill for the time I spent looking for that newspaper that didn't exist.
Should have sent an email and asked. Okay, anyone else have any new business? Any announcements? No? Okay, then we need the confirmatory bylaw, the bylaw number 18-2023, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of Council of Township of Perth East at its regular meeting held on April 20th, 2023, be read a first, second, and third time. Moved by Amanda, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. And the last motion of the night is that we adjourn at 7:57. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Great. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Great night. And stay safe. And we'll see you again. Bye.